Hey guys, Mom from Family Reviews. Sorry, I'm just trying to fix this. So I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit more about being a parent to a transgender child and what that's like, or what that is like. Because I've had a lot of people whose children are figuring out who they are and what they want to be. Um, and we know, besides Jake, that there's a couple other kids that he knows that want to become the opposite gender of what they were born as. But their parents are less accepting, so I'm hoping that this video might be able to shed a little light on what all of this looks like as a parent from a parent's perspective. Um, so Jake's been through a lot. So if we as a family, and it's not as much an issue for us to deal with, but at first it was a huge struggle for parts of the family, especially Jake's dad. Struggled a lot with it, mostly because he wasn't here, so he didn't get to see um, Jake from the very beginning and how adamant he was that he was a boy. And dad had his own internal issues with that. He was okay with if Jake ever came out as being gay, he was completely going to be accepting. But for some reason, being transgender, he was having a huge problem with at first. But he's come a long way, and he's extremely accepting. Um, and it can be stressful, especially if you're religious, and for some reason, in your infinite wisdom, you think that um, being transgender or being gay is unacceptable, um, because you were brought up to believe that's wrong. God does not discriminate against whatever gender you are. He wants for all of us to love each other. That's it. Not sexually, just love each other as human beings. Otherwise, he wouldn't have put so many of us on this earth, and to show us that, even though we sin and do those types of things, that we can still love other people. We can love people of any color, of any ethnic groups, anything like that. It's all about loving another human being, not specifically anything to do with gender or wanting to change your gender. So I just wanted to make sure that I made that a big point, because I find a lot of parents, especially that have religious parents themselves, so the child's grandparents or aunts and uncles are super struggling with the fact that their niece or nephew or grandchild, in general, is transgender. Um, just putting it out there, it is not against you as a parent, it's not against you as a family member or a friend. It has nothing to do with you personally, it has to do with the child and internalizing, and they've usually felt like they weren't the correct gender, or there's just something odd about them, and they didn't feel like they were completely 100% their true authentic selves. So for people to put on social media stupid things like a basketball that says I identify as a pumpkin, and then shove it outside with a whole bunch of pumpkins, that's not funny, that's disrespectful, and that's basically stating that you don't accept the transgender community, in whatever spectrum that they fall under, no matter where on that line that they fall. Transgender is very wide. It's a very wide range of different feelings and where people identify as. So just don't throw them all under the same thing, that just because they are identifying and telling you that they're transgender, that they're feeling as if they're just the opposite gender. That's not what the transgender actually means. And the different steps and processes, as a parent, is very mind-boggling to go through at first. It's understanding that your kid's not doing it to hurt you. Your child is just letting you know, and they trust you enough to tell you that they don't feel that they are who they were born as. And so we need to, as parents, just learn to accept it. It's not our life. It's not something that we have to continue to live with forever. Um, and it's about your child and what makes them happy. And if having Jake go from a female to a male is what makes my kid happy, then I'm 1,000% on board. And I will do whatever I can to help him achieve what it is that he wants to achieve out of this whole thing. Um, there's different aspects of being transgender. There's people that don't take any medication but still identify as opposite gender, so they dress as the opposite gender. They can't afford the medication, or maybe they just don't want to take the medication and change everything about them. They're just comfortable with themselves, and they've learned to love and accept who they are, and they're okay with, taking specific steps to get to where they want to be. So that's the biggest thing that I find is out there is a lot of misinformation. As a parent, I have a lot of transgender Facebook groups and other social media groups that I'm attached with, just so as a parent I can better understand how to help my child. And a lot of parents have been going out there and saying, hey, I'm struggling. The biggest thing, especially when they're first told, the parents feel that they're being blindsided. They're feeling as if they don't know their child anymore. They're feeling the loss of said child. And those feelings are valid, and you're allowed to have those feelings. But it's not the fact that you're mourning the death of your son or daughter that's transitioning to a male or female. So I would suggest using a different wording and a different different statement instead of I'm mourning the loss of my child. Your child didn't die. Your child's still alive, and your child is still in the body. What you are feeling is the loss of your expectations of that child. The dreams and hopes that you had for your child are what you are missing and what you feel a loss for, not the actual death of your child. And they refer to their old name as their dead name because they don't want to be associated with that name anymore. They don't want to be associated with that gender. It's just the way that they express that is who they used to be, and this is who they really are. So we as parents need to stop saying that we are mourning the loss of our child. We didn't lose our kids at all. We have lost the ideas that we had for our child. I know that I stated something along those lines when I first heard Jake come out, and I was like, wait a minute, I had to think about that. I was like, wait, whoa. Nope, that's not what I meant at all. And I was like, I never really thought about the fact that words can really have a huge impact on our children. And statements like that only upset Jake, and it only made him more angry at first because he felt like I was rebirthing him as himself. And I was like, no, that's not what I meant. I was like, I just had ideas of what you were going to be when you got older and what you were going to look like. More the fact that I was picturing him in a dress, walking down the aisle. I didn't care whether it was to a male or a female. I don't particularly care who his significant other is. As long as my kid is happy, that's all I care about. And more parents need to state that to their children, that no matter what, whether they're gay, bisexual, or whatever, we love you regardless. We will always love you. We will always be there to support you and accept you. Some parents have a harder time with that, especially because they use religion and their beliefs as an excuse to justify the fact that they're pushing away their child. And I just want you guys to understand how much damage that can do to your child. Because that child now feels like they have to hide who they really are. They have to pretend to be someone that they're not. And they resent you as an adult because you have more or less forced them to be in the body that they don't want to be in. And then you're forcing them to continue to be dead named and be called the name that and the gender markers that they don't want to use anymore. So just understand that it has nothing to do with you as a parent personally. This is just what your child wants. And if you think that your child, it's a phase, it can be for some children. But most of the time, these kids have known for an extremely long time, since they were about 6 or so, when they more or less understand the concept of, the differences between a male and a female. Like what they look like, what they're dressing like. So societal norms is, at 6, they're starting to understand that there's a difference between the two sexes, and that they want to identify as one or the other, but they don't have the words to tell you all the time when they're that young that this is what I want. Because we as parents just go, whatever, you're 6. Like, really? I don't think you honestly know. That just makes that child hide when you make statements like that. So we need to watch what we say to our children and how we say it, just like we do to adults when we speak to them as well. We need to watch what we say and how we say it. And it's not to upset the other person. It's just so that, because we don't understand what they're going through, to stop making assumptions that we do. What else? Name change and birth certificate change or gender marker change are in the midst of getting done for Jake. I need one more piece so I can send all the paperwork in. It's been an extremely long process, a lot of paperwork, this much paperwork for just Jake, to have his name as gender marker changed. A lot of doctor's appointments that need to be done, and a lot of paperwork that needs to be filled out by the doctors and specialists just to verify that, yes, he's being looked after. It's not just me wanting to change it for him, without justifying why. The gender marker, I needed a doctor's note from his endocrinologist explaining what he's on and why we want to change his gender marker, because he wants to become a male. Excuse me. First step we're doing is the name change with the gender marker, so it's all done at one time instead of doing it 2 separate times. Because that would make it worse for Jake later on. We want to make sure it gets done before he goes into high school and before he starts getting a job, and gets a driver's license and things like that. And everyone in our area is pretty good about it. So if you're struggling, and if you're at the very beginning stages of your child being transgender and has come out to you, just accept the fact that what your child is stating to you is the truth, and that's how they feel. And it's not against you as a parent. It's not telling you that we hate you, and it's not against anything in particular. It's nothing against your religious beliefs. The child is just trying to tell you, because you're their parent, that this is how they feel. So we need to validate their feelings and say that, okay, I understand, that's how you feel. It's going to take mom and dad a little bit of time, or, the family a bunch of time to, get used to this new child that we're showing off to everybody. And it's not that we don't love you, it's just the fact that, changing the pronouns and getting used to a new name takes some time. Jake's pretty good at it, as long as if anyone makes a mistake, they apologize and just say, I'm sorry. That's not what I meant. That's what we say now, is like, oh, sorry, that's not what we meant to say. So we apologize for making that mistake. And start referring to your child as their name that they want their new chosen name, and using the correct pronouns even when you're talking about in the past. I have a lot of people on different social media platforms that are struggling with their child being transgender, and some of the parents and grandparents have a big issue with the whole concept because they think that they need to understand every aspect of it. No, we don't. We're not the ones who are fighting this internal battle with inside of us. The children are, regardless, or the adult, that whoever's transitioning is the one who's actually going through the struggle. We are just supposed to be there to help support the person, whatever way that they need support. And if you don't know how to support them, then you just need to tell them, I don't know how I'm supposed to support you because I don't understand what you need from me. And the child or the transgender person will go, oh, I'm sorry, and then explain to you what they would like you to do to help them navigate through all of this. So just understand that it's a new thing for this person that's going through the transition as well as yourself. But it's about them and what they're going through, and you need to stop focusing on yourself and being selfish in that respect. And that's what I had to get through to Jake's father, is that it's not about you, it's not about me, it's about what makes our child happy. And if that's what makes him happy is to be a boy, then we should allow him to explore that and take things slowly and have him understand that it's not a fast process at all, especially when you're younger. When you're an adult, you can do things pretty quickly. Like, you can get the ball rolling like super fast. But when you're under 16, it's not that easy, because as parents, we still have the right to say yes or no, that you're allowed to get specific things done. And if your child has come to you and told you that they're transgender, and then you're the parent that says, I am not doing this, you're not going on hormones or anything like that because I don't want to lose my child, then it's you that's being selfish and not your child. Your child has told you and expressed to you how they feel, and you're completely ignoring how they feel because you're too selfish and are refusing to change, not your child. And that's not fair to your child, and your child is going to resent you and is going to hate you as they grow up. And eventually you'll realize that it doesn't matter what gender that they are, and it doesn't matter how they identify, but once you lose that person, then you know that you screwed up, and you're going to kick yourself in the butt later on as you get older as a parent and you haven't accepted your child. Because they're not going to want to come around. They're not going to want to see you no matter how much they love you. They just want you to give them unconditional love. And that's what we signed up for as parents, is to give our children unconditional love. That means there's no restrictions on it. It doesn't matter whether or not that they could be gay, straight, identify as whatever gender that they want to identify as. It's nothing against you as a human being. It's nothing against you as a parent. This is just how your child feels, and they're expressing it to you. And they've had enough respect for you over the years that they have told you this. So we, as their family and friends, need to go, I don't get it, but if this is what makes you happy, that's what matters. So once that concept got through to Jake's dad, it made life a lot easier. And I said, you don't have to get to know your kid. You've known your child, but now you need to participate more, listen to him more, understand him better if that's what you're struggling with. And I said, just remember, it doesn't matter. It honestly does not matter to me personally whether or not my child is male, female, straight, gay, bi, whatever other sexual orientation or gender markers that person is. I'm still going to love you no matter what. Family is supposed to be there for you when everybody else is against you. So please understand that this child isn't doing it to hurt you, whether or not they're doing it at 6, whether they're doing it at 14, whether or not they're doing it at 21 or older. It's nothing to do with you. It's because that's what makes them happy. So get off your high horse and just learn to love your family member or your friend as you state that you love them. You love them for their personality, not for what they physically look like on the outside. So please look inside yourself and realize that you are the person that's being selfish, not the transgender person, and stop putting all this blame on them and how they're ruining society. They're not ruining society whatsoever. They are human beings, and we are supposed to love each person regardless of what gender or religious background or beliefs that they have. Love conquers everything. Just so that everyone's clear, that's all that God has ever mentioned at all in any Bible I've ever read, any church I've ever been to. The same message is always given out, that God is unconditional love. So your belief system and how you want to manipulate your beliefs and use it against them, that's on you. That's your problem, and you're the one who's a bigoted jerk, who uses their religion and their faith to justify hatred of others. When God has always told us, regardless of your religious beliefs or where you stand on that, your deity, your God, your higher power has only ever told you that we are supposed to love one another. We are all humans. We all deserve the same respect and the same love as everybody else. It doesn't matter whether you're wealthy, you're poor, boy, girl, transgender, two-spirited, any of that stuff. You're bi, you're gay, you're straight, you're allianced with the LGBTQ community or not. It doesn't matter. Love is love, and it should be shared, not divided or separated or segregated from a specific group of people. Just because you don't believe in their ability to be their true selves and what that looks like, then you need to do some self-reflection on the inside of you and stop trying to change everybody else. Main thing, because that irritates the absolute crap out of me. The next step is sending in that paperwork so Jake gets his name changed and gender marker changed and things like that before he goes into high school and becomes an adult. So that way he doesn't have to worry about that later and trying to transition in a job or getting his driver's license changed over and feeling comfortable with voting, because I know some people in Canada refused to vote or felt that they couldn't vote because their gender or their name was wrong according to their ID versus what's legally out there for them to vote. It doesn't matter at the polls. The poll people don't care. They have to allow you to vote because you're a human being, and it doesn't matter what you physically look like or anything. You still have the ability to vote regardless. So please, if you are transgender, the next time that voting comes into play, I understand that it's tough, but go and vote. I guarantee you it'll make you feel so much better to vote out the parties you don't want, so that way you are safe and you get to have your voice heard. So, and I'm not going to get into the voting stuff because I'm going to get angry and upset about the different sides and arguments that people are having over who has been voted in and who's Prime Minister of Canada. Canadians, get over yourselves. People voted the way they voted. If you don't like it, tough shit. Suck it up, buttercup. No one's asking you for your 2 cents worth. And whoever you voted for, that's who you voted for. it doesn't have to be discussed. It doesn't have to be explained to the general population as to why. You don't have to justify who you voted for, and it doesn't matter whether you voted NDP, PPC, Québécois. I think that's what they're called. Don't quote me on that one. NDP, PC, or Liberals. It doesn't matter who you voted for personally. It doesn't matter why you voted for them. You are the only person that you need to have an internal battle with as to why you voted for said person. I don't believe that some of those party members that were specific to the PC party were against, were like anti-abortion, and were using their religious beliefs to spew out bullcrap that they were using in their platforms when they wanted votes. Religion has no place in politics, just so that we're all clear. And so when you spew your faith beliefs, and whether you're anti-abortion or not is irrelevant, but that has nothing to do with why you want to get voted in. So don't use the fact that you believe that women shouldn't be allowed to have an abortion and things like that, because I have a whole bunch of stuff to say on those issues. And also on social media, please don't post dumb things about the fact that transgender people, women, aren't women because they don't have their period. I don't freaking care what you believe in or don't. And then reposting and sharing dumb things like that just goes to show the general population as to where you do stand. Even though you may say that you're aligned with the LGBTQ community, whether or not there's a female symbol or our colors are feminine on feminine hygiene products, none of that crap matters. If you have to use it, sanitary things during your period, then go for it. And it doesn't freaking matter what color those things are. It doesn't matter what the damn things look like. And it sure as heck doesn't matter if there's a freaking female ass symbol on the damn thing. You're still gonna freaking use it if you're gonna freaking use it during that time of the month. So to say that women who don't have a period aren't women, are you freaking kidding me? I've had grandparents and I've known people that have had a hysterectomy that are still women biologically and identified as a woman, and they still freaking didn't have their period. Didn't mean that they're not freaking women. They're still bloody ass women. I don't care if you have a dick between your legs and you're identifying as a woman. Go for it. You're not going to use feminine hygiene pads, so you don't care, and you're not going to go in there and buy them up for yourself, because you don't need to use them, so don't worry about what the freaking packaging looks like. And if you're a woman out there who honestly gives two craps what color or symbol is on your freaking pad, then guess what? Get off your ass and create a sanitary napkin cover that has female symbols all over the stupid thing with different female freaking colors, whatever you associate with females, usually pink and purple and crap, which males can enjoy those colors too, and you don't have to be gay to enjoy them. Just making a statement. But if that's what you want, then guess what? Get off your lazy ass, make yourself a pouch so that you feel that you are out there in the world showing people the fact that you have had that says that it's the time of the freaking month for you, and that it's got a female freaking symbol on it. Nobody cares. Do what you want with it, take what you want from this, and open up the discussions and let me know if there's anything that you guys want to talk about next, and I will do my best to talk about those things. For now, I'm going to let you guys go because now I'm heated on that conversation. So stop posting that crap. It doesn't freaking matter, and stop putting stupid things on social media about transgender people and identifying as a freaking pumpkin when you're a freaking basketball. That goes against making fun of the transgender community, Whether or not you think that it does or not, I'm telling you, as a parent to a transgender child, that is extremely racist and derogatory to my child, and I do not appreciate things like that being posted on social media for the entire world to see how bigoted that you don't realize that you are. All right, thanks. Bye, guys.